Salam, my brothers and sisters. I want to welcome you to the Black News Network again here on Sunday at 3:30 p.m. We're here on daylight saving time, which always throws some people off, but we got it right this time, and hopefully we're gonna get some good discussion going on. This is the Black News Network. You can always call in at 210-872-2261 and voice your opinion. And I'd like you to go to our YouTube page and like us on YouTube, or subscribe to us on YouTube, and BNN247 on Facebook, and like us on Facebook. I keep getting those two mixed up, but I got them right. Today is a topic that I think we're going to find very interesting, because what we're going to talk about this time is something that none of us really want to talk about. And that is all these damn holidays that we have here in America, because we got something for every single month. And that's what we're going to dove into today, starting with Black Friday. And to me, like I said in the title there, it's a slap in the face to our people. And, when I did the research, they all trying to say we're not part. It didn't derive from slavery, but that's a goddamn lie if you ask me. But without further ado, I want to welcome you to the Black News Network, the real voice of Black USA. This is coming from the desk of the Emissary. I am your host, War Smith-Bey, and we're broadcasting the War Report. And it's definitely from a Black point of view. Don't forget that part, from a Black point of view. We don't own the rights to the music, but we do own the right to what we say. Without further ado, I want to introduce some and present to others my co-host, Mr. Foster. So, Mr. Claude, how you feeling today, my brother? Go ahead and let us know what you think.
Good morning, my brother. Glad to be with you this week. What a timely topic. We're entering into the holiday season.
Got to turn your volume up a little bit and turn the music down some.
Good afternoon, my brother. Glad to be
with you. All right, I can hear you now, but it's still kind of low, but I can still hear you.
On this first weekend in November, on such a timely subject to talk about Black Friday and the origins of Black Friday. And also, November, in 2 days, we got a presidential election coming up.
Ooh,
so I want to just remind folks from BNN 247 that if you don't vote, you really don't matter.
That's right.
So get out there on Tuesday. You got one more day to do it. Mm-hmm. Get out there on Tuesday and cast your vote for your choice in this election.
Mm-hmm.
So I look forward to this discussion. Let's get it on.
This is a big deal for me. I mean, every single month that we look at what's coming up right now, Thanksgiving, there's something going on in our system. And I hear echo, but I don't know if we're going to be able to do too much about that today, but I ain't going to worry about it. We still get the message out there. One thing to start with, we got Brown Thursday. Then we got Black Friday. And then we got Cyber Monday. Back to back to back. These three holidays ain't doing nothing but sucking the middle class and the poor dry. And it's sucking us dry so we can present our money to the rich and wealthy. And one of these days, my friends and my brothers and my sisters, we got to realize that we can't keep giving them our money on these damn holidays. They're going to create something for every single holiday. Let me just run down a list right quick, and then we're going to hear Mr. Claude's perspective. 1, Brown Thursday, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Christmas Eve, where everybody's knocking people over in the stores again, trying to buy shit, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, New Year, February 14th, Valentine's Day. Damn, what comes after that? We got let's see, February 14th. We got spring break coming up in March, and that's when all the kids go out and spend their damn money. Then we got Easter in April. We go out and spend money on that. Then we got Mother's Day, and we just go buck damn wild on Mother's Day, spending all that money. But Father's Day probably the cheapest damn holiday there is. Ain't nobody spending no money on Father's Day. Then we got 4th of July coming up next. Then we got school starting back in August. So everybody's out there buying school shit, and every family normally spends for I say $700 to $1,000 per kid when school starts. Um, we got Labor Day coming up in September. We got October. We got Halloween, and then we back to November. So the entire 12-month spectrum, they have devised a method to reach in our pockets and get us out there spending money. What's your perspective?
Well, a couple of things, right? Every African country was colonized by Europeans, right? Whether it was the Belgium, the French, the British, the German, the Italian, the Portuguese, the Spanish, and everybody else in between, right? All 52 countries in Africa was colonized. They wasn't colonized to make them better. They was colonized to take from them resources, right? So what are these? You got these same nationalities that founded America, right? What are they extracting from us during every holiday? Resources, money. What's the most valuable resource we have in America? Our pocketbook. So isn't it kind of ironic that how things change, but how much they remain the same? It's all about the almighty dollar.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about those resources. And you can't colonize America in America. So what do? They create all these fictitious holidays, which basically does the same thing. What do you think about that?
Well, I think you're 100 on that. I mean, that's exactly
That's
what
my
they're doing.
theory.
Huh?
That's my theory.
That's a beautiful theory, Claude. I mean, I mean, they can't colonize us for a resource other than finance.
They got to create some type of mechanism that basically does the same thing to get our resources.
I was thinking about
we as
something.
Americans, we fall for it.
Every damn time, hook, line, and sinker.
Hunk line and
I was thinking about the docks where they bring in all these cargo ships with these big ass containers. I mean, I think they're in the hundreds of thousands of containers a year that come to this country from all over the world, where they produce these items for pennies on a dollar.
Houston is one of them. We have built more warehouses in anticipation of them expanding the port, deepening the port to get them bigger ships in with more cargo. And if you drive around Houston, especially around the black areas of Houston, you see these giant mega warehouses to store all these goods.
That's crazy.
Before they're shipped to Antonio and other parts of the universe.
And they ship every container costs about, last time I checked, it was like $3,500 to $4,500 a container. And a ship can hold, I ain't never did the research on this, but I'm thinking a ship got to hold every bit of 500 containers. I mean,
I think I've heard a number higher than that, but they can hold a lot of, because it ain't what you see above the ship. It's they got an equal number below the ship, what you see, the deck.
that's a shitload of containers. And they all are destined to some of these retailers here in America.
Yeah,
And they all contain
everything,
shit.
everything you can imagine.
Because we don't make very much here anymore anyway.
Well, we don't make it at the prices where we can sell it as cheap as it's made in other countries because of our labor costs. So we don't.
I mean, every industry is going overseas to get their product. Even the automotive industry.
Well, one of the presidents said they're gonna stop that shit. I won't tell you which one.
Ford gets its chassis from Mexico. They built all the chassis and it comes in on the train.
But you want to avoid. I said one of the presidential candidates said we're gonna stop that shit. I said you don't want to mention
You didn't
the
want me
name.
to go over that.
You don't want to mention the name because
Yeah, he's gonna say, But they're not going to allow him to stop it because it's too much money involved.
Well, one of the
They,
proposals is that they're gonna tariff. I mean, they're gonna charge their ass to bring it here. They're gonna
but
put
look
some.
at what the tariffs do, though. You and I know when you say tariff, we think that they finna charge these importers or the exporters that bring stuff into the country. But who ends up paying for it is the importers. They're like Walmart, they'll pay for it. They don't give a damn what you charge the tariffs on because they're gonna pay it. Because either way, they're gonna pass it on to us. We're the ones who get fucked in the long run because every penny that Walmart pay for a product to get to Walmart shelf, we gonna pay for that product. We're gonna pay that margin of profit, and if the and we're gonna pay the tariff. And if the tariff is increased, guess what? That product that's on the shelf that we want gonna get increased too.
Well, I
And
don't. But see,
uh,
I hold a different view. I don't think necessarily that they're gonna raise the price. America is a consumption economy,
right.
and so why you think the world want to send all that crap here? Because we consume it. So I don't think that necessarily tariffs gonna raise prices because we're such a viable market. It didn't stop Europe from going into Africa, into every country in Africa, because
So
the product was there.
so if we said, go ahead, Paul, I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying that America is a consumption country. We consume probably more than the rest of the world combined in terms of what we consume.
Product, yeah,
Look,
everything.
we throw out more than what the rest of the world grows.
Yeah.
So the world knows that. That's why they send all that shit here. And
Well,
putting a tariff on them ain't gonna stop them from ain't gonna lessen our consumption.
what happens if somebody make the comment on the world news that there's going to be a war in the Middle East? What's the first thing they're going to happen tomorrow? The gas prices go up. I don't give a damn if they say that we're going to tariff foreign countries for sending stuff here. First thing Walmart and everybody else gonna do, they're gonna raise the prices, regardless if the tariffs are in place or not. They're gonna get their money up front. And
What
then just like any crisis, what
what
happens
price?
when they say the hurricane's coming in? They go
How
to
high?
Home Depot and buy them out.
How high does prices have to go before America stop being a consumer nation?
We're the consumers, though.
I mean,
We're
how high does it have to go?
it's gonna go as high to a level where
What
we
is
gotta
that now?
work instead of working 2 jobs now, we're gonna have to work 3 jobs to afford it. Because we used to could have a decent standard of living with one person working in the household. But now you can't do that. Normally it takes two to tango because we have to have more money in order for us to survive. Because we don't have a means of growing a garden. We don't have a means of fixing our car in the garage. We can't even really afford cars. I remember in 1973, we bought a brand new Grand Torino, and that Grand Torino was $3,400, and it had all the whistles and bells. Now that's not freaking heard of. The average car price is over $20,000, and we don't think twice about that. What what the hell happened from the $4,000 car to the $20,000 car? It's crazy how a simple part went from you can buy a starter back then for what $9.95. Now you can get a starter for nearly less than $100 or more. A battery, you can get a battery 9 days out of 7. But now a battery costs you over $100, $200 now.
But getting back to the Black Friday, right? So
Mhm.
so you think that there's a negative connotation?
Hell
What is
yeah.
it about Black Friday? A slap in the face.
All right. Black Friday to me, this is what it means. And this is what it means in our culture. And everywhere I look, they try to dispel the fact that Black Friday derives from slavery. Black Friday is to me is when the night before Thanksgiving, right? Or during the Thanksgiving day. The white folks used to have all the slaves entertaining them and their guests in their parlors, in their at the dinner table, after dinner, and doing everything that they wanted to do. And while they were doing that, they decided which slaves they were going to send to the auction block the next day. And the next morning, the earlier the better, they get their slaves to the auction block. And the auction block sits in the dead center of whatever town they were in. And I was also thinking, if you have never seen an auction block, a real one, go down to Fayetteville, North Carolina,
You just took the words out of my mouth. I've been there. My brother
on Hay
lived
Street.
there. Yeah.
It's on Hay Street.
In fact, there's
And
a
they
big
built it
debate
on,
now about what to do with that.
huh?
There's a big debate.
A
There's a
debate
big
going on
debate
about
in
what to do with it.
Fayetteville. What to do with that? Whether it's historical or whether it should be torn down or
Shit.
whether it should be
They tore it. They burned it
repurposed.
10 times. I was in there in the '90s, and they had burned it 10 times by the '90s,
Mm.
and they rebuilt it back to perfection. It's beautiful. I didn't know
I,
what it was when I first went there,
how
and
do
I
you see it
wanted pictures and
since you were
shit
there?
until I
Do you
got
see it
around to
as
the placard to
do you
find out
see it
what
as
it
being
really was.
do you see it as being historical?
I see it as being historical, but it doesn't belong in the center of town. It belongs in a damn museum somewhere, where I don't think the history need to be lost, but I think it doesn't need to be displayed in a public forum where it's almost like architecture. Put it in a outdoor museum. It's not a statue, and taxpayer money should not be paid to maintain it. That's where I am with it. I think it's this insult. It's disgraceful to preserve it where it is. Why is that the only one that most of us know of in the country that's on display in town square? It needs to go. So that's my sentiments about it. But back to what I was saying as far as the Saturday, the Thursday, the Friday morning when all the slaves was on the auction block, they get rid of the slaves that they want to trade, and some of those slaves were talented. They got rid of some of their talent, the one that would bring the most money. And the objective was to get as much money they could get to sustain them for the winter. And they got that money and did what they had to do. But when I did the research on it, Black Friday derives from a white man's perspective in 1950, where managers would used to describe that the day before or the day after Thanksgiving, where the employees would call in. They described that Friday as Black Friday because all the damn workers didn't go back to work in the manufacturing industry. So they coined the phrase Black Friday after we coined it in slavery. And then in the 1960s in Philadelphia, the police would describe the massive crowd that would cause chaos in the city because they were out shopping after
Mm-hmm.
Thanksgiving.
I read that.
So,
Yeah.
so it went from the 50s to the 60s, and it goes back even further, though. I did find one other part. In 1867, 1869, it was a financial panic in America, and they used on a Friday, and they used the term as they called it Black Friday then. So if they did it in 1869, which was 3, 4 years after slavery, after Emancipation Proclamation, they I mean, it was there before then. Where'd they get it from? I think they got it from what they did after Thanksgiving.
So why didn't they call it, you know, Colored Friday or Negro Friday or I mean
Hey, that's a heavy question to ask.
a Slave Friday? I mean they could have called it. I mean I
Mhm.
read about the some of the facts surrounding Black Friday. None of it what I read was racial. It was all
Mhm.
like what you said related to some type of employment
Mhm.
workers. You know the police. I
Mhm.
read about the situation
But
with
see,
the
that's what
police.
they want us to believe, in my mind, because our history right now is on the crisis. We need to put some antidote on what's happening with our history, because if it was left up to white America in America, there would be no Black history.
Well,
Because
but isn't that us?
Yeah,
Aren't we
it
doing
is.
that to ourselves? I
Huh?
mean, the next reiteration of us, we've gone through. We went from slave to colored to Negro to black to African American, and now we're being fusion people. We're BIPOC, black, Indian, people of color,
Hmm.
and that seems to be the direction. We're,
There's a
we're,
new
we're,
name every 40, 50 years.
well, I mean, that seems to be the direction that we're going.
Mm.
It's like a white guy said, a white senator from your state, Valderman. He said, "I don't give a damn." What was it? Let me quote him.
Ain't no law that can be made. Is that it? Where it ain't no law that can be
He no. He
on the
said he
book.
didn't give a damn what Anglo-Saxon reinforcements any Negro had. Meaning, he was talking about people like Booker T. Washington and stuff who were educated. He called
Mm.
them Anglo-Saxon reinforcement. They were still a nigger.
Hmm.
So, regardless of the more middle class we become, regardless of whether we become BIPOC or whatever you can call us, doesn't even, many people will still see us the way he saw us. That no
Hmm.
matter how educated you become, that no matter how middle class you become, he don't see you no better than the lowliest among us.
Hmm. Even the lowest class white man is better than the richest black man. That's one. I've heard that, and then I've heard that there's no law passed in favor of the Negro that a white man has to respect. I mean,
Well,
that's the way it is here in
name a
America.
law
We
that's
have
been
to know that these people think that way.
name a law that's been passed specifically
There
by the
are there are no laws that's been passed specifically for us.
well,
But it ain't nobody's fault but ours. You know, half of us
How is
don't
it
want to
our
get
fault?
out and vote. The other part is we're complacent with making the money we make because it gives us a significant level of improvement. Many of us have been able to get a decent damn job. Ain't no job good, but a decent job to give us an income that can help us support our family. And that's the major reason we are quiet in what's actually happening in America. Look at what's happening in the news right now. They are raising so much hell about Puerto Rico being a garbage island, but nobody want to say shit about that man saying anything about him going to. He know that one black brother that's in the audience, and yeah, because I know him. We had a watermelon carving contest last night. Nobody paying any attention to that. I haven't heard that
Wait,
once said
say
on
that
the news.
say that again. I hadn't heard that either.
He said that there was about the island of Puerto Rico being a trashed island, right? They've doubled down on that shit.
I heard about
But
that. Yeah.
nobody's saying a damn thing about that same comedian saying that he recognized the one black guy that was in the audience while he was up there. And he said, yeah, I know him because last night we had a watermelon carving contest. How racist is that?
Why you think nobody said anything?
Because they don't want to focus shit on us. We're being more like we're like a cup of
Let me ask you a
coffee
question.
being diluted with more than two
But see,
thirds of the cup full of damn cream.
let me ask you a question, and I'm gonna get in trouble, right?
You're gonna get in trouble. Go
No,
ahead.
why hadn't the liberal community said anything about that? Liberal Democrats in particular.
To me, the liberal community of the Democrats don't, and I'm gonna get in trouble too, Claude, because they don't really want to represent black. They want to represent America, and they can't represent America without representing black. But they can't have both. But they're trying to separate themselves, just like the white folks, from the plight of the black man in America. They don't want to be known as ex-slaves or former descendants of slaves. They don't say shit about our ancestry. They don't say shit about our culture.
But from a historical point of view, I'm talking historical.
Mm.
I'm strictly talking historical. the Democrats have been the most racist group of folks in this country.
Yeah.
You grew up in Mississippi. It was the Democrats. It wasn't the Republicans in Alabama. It was the Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
It's so
That was
they've
then.
never from then until now they've never been held accountable.
That's right. They've never been held
As a
accountable.
party,
But
they have never apologized for slavery.
yeah,
As a party,
no, they have not. But and then they got the audacity to go to the Indian reservation and apologize to them.
they
You know,
apologized to the Asians.
yeah, everybody. The Germans been apologized to. The Jews been apologized to. The Indians, the Asians,
Why haven't they apologized for the horrific?
even the Japanese been apologized to.
So why hadn't the Democratic Party
They,
apologized to black folks
I'm
to
telling
this
you,
day? And
I believe that our people are our people with prominence in America. Our black people with prominence in America are afraid to come out as being as identifying as I'm black, I'm a descendant of slaves, and I'm standing on what my ancestors stood on, and that is we were held back 400 years, and you are expecting us to perform at the same damn level when you had a free 400-year head goddamn start. That's what they expect, and they look at us, they look down on us for saying that's bullshit. We still got a long damn way to go to even the damn score. You won't give us an opportunity to even the score.
that was a Democrat that killed Medgar Evers.
Yeah, yeah.
That was
I have no doubt that the Democrats
those were
and the
Democrats
Republicans
that
are fucked.
those were Democrats that killed Sherina Goodman and
I don't doubt it. See,
those were
why you think
Democrats that
Puffy is
killed
in jail? Why you
those were
think
Democrats
Puffy
that killed Vala Louiso.
Yeah, why you
Those
think
were
Puffy is in
Democrats.
jail?
Those were Democrats that voted
I'm
against the
asking
Civil
you.
Rights Acts.
Why you think Puffy Combs is in jail? You think he's in jail for trafficking or having these parties? Hell to the no. Puffy Combs is in jail because Puffy started a third political party. One, I forget the name of it, but whatever it is, it's about black people. And he talked about it a year before they started focusing on him. And that black political party was taken off. Now, if you're gonna look it up, look it up. Puffy Combs started a black political party, and it was the third party. And they got rid of him before it even got off the ground.
But
Look up what he did.
Have the Democrats in this country
They ain't done shit.
apologize for the 150 years of lynchings, murders, mayhem
No.
that they did?
You know that, and I know that. And I'm not proclaiming that the Democrats is where we need to be. I can't stand fucking Democrats just like I can't stand fucking Republicans. Neither one of them are here for us. They're not here for us. Not one of those parties, those two parties that everybody want to fuck
But if you
to.
look at the two parties, though, and I'm not, you know,
I'm gonna tell you something after you say what you say.
But when you look at the two parties, when you look at our existence in this country, the abolitionists were Republicans. Most black folks were Republicans up until
That
Richard
helped
Nixon.
on the Underground Railroad too.
Dr. King was Republicans. And so how did we become so loyal to the party that was so racist?
Because of people like Donald Trump. We became loyal because of people like Ronald
No,
Reagan.
we was loyal to the Democrats long before Donald Trump.
What about Ronald Reagan?
Long before Ronald Reagan.
Well, it had to be Johnson then. Whoever did the Civil Rights Act kind of turned the tide of the loyalty to the Democrats. Because the Democrats passed that law.
Well, Kennedy passed the Civil Rights Act and Johnson passed the Voting Rights Act, and we've been hooked on that ever since.
That's where it got started at, but that don't mean.
So.
Why did they? I mean, Kennedy got killed because he did something for black people.
So I can rob your house, take everything you got, and
Catch hell robbing my house.
and I can rob your house, never apologize, and
Expect me to be loyal.
And now you can come live next to me and all this kind of stuff, and I'm fine with
That's
that.
bamboozleisms that we've been talking about.
Well, you know,
We cannot fall for that shit.
I was
Huh?
thinking about something the other day. I was wondering, and do you know the answer to this? Does Israel have relationship, uh, uh, international relations with Germany?
Israel ain't got relationships with nobody but
Well, they
us.
got they got relationships with the United States.
Because the United States put Israel in place in 1947.
Well, the British did too.
Well, but who led the damn fight?
So, but my question is, since the Holocaust happened in Germany, do they have political relations with Germany? I
To
don't
my
know
knowledge,
that.
no, they don't. The only people that support Israel the way, in the open is the US of A, because the US of A got the most to gain from Israel being Israel in the location Israel is at. Without Israel, where else do we go in the Middle East? We need Israel as our, it's almost like another American state
Right.
being in Israel.
But getting back to this Black Friday, a slap in the face. Explain the slap in the face.
For us
It's
to think that it's just a normal thing for them to call it Black Friday and yeah, go spend money. That's all. I mean, we look at, oh, I can't, we get up on Friday morning going to the stores thinking we finna go get a bargain. And we go to the store looking for this 85-inch TV for
so what you're saying.
$400 and
So
they
what
ain't
you're
got the
saying.
two and they gone.
So what you're saying is there's no White Friday.
Hell no, it ain't no White Friday.
There's no brown. There's no
It,
Brown Friday.
it is a Brown Thursday.
Is that Brown Thursday?
Yeah, it's Brown Thursday now. That's Thanksgiving Day is Brown Thursday.
I never heard it.
Yeah, it's just now coming out. Brown Thursday, Black Friday, and Cyber Monday.
And what
All three of
Monday?
those days. Huh?
What kind of Monday?
Cyber Monday.
Oh, Cyber. But
Mhm.
in terms of racial coloring,
It's
it's
only
only
Black
Black
Friday.
Friday.
Anything black, I mean, when you look at black, there's only one definition for it, with the same connotation all the way across definition for the word black. If you look up the word black, it's all negative. There's nothing positive about the word black. And why are we so anxious and so happy to call ourselves black when black, we know if we look at the definition, it's derogatory. So they're saying the same thing about Black Friday. Black Friday has every negative connotation of America that there is. All the bad stuff is connected to Black Friday.
Like what?
So it all accumulates to Black Friday. But the only other black that's associated with the word black is what? Black Friday, black people, uh,
A,
when Black Auction Day come, Black Friday back in slavery days before
like what?
1865,
Like a
huh?
blackout. A blackout is
And Black
negative.
Out, that's negative. What else? A Black Storm, that's out. Black, did you say blackout, right? Everything black is negative. You cannot find a positive thing with the word black. So what's different than this right here? If we're walking around, we got a renowned name of being black. And because we got a renowned name of being black, it's a negative connotation underneath all that. You
Well, how
cannot
about? Well, how about? Okay, let's go down the list.
give me the positive of black.
Okay, let's go down the list before we get to black. Slave was negative, right?
Yes,
So we eliminated slave from our
right.
vocabulary.
Hmm.
Color was that considered negative?
Yeah,
We
because
don't we don't name. I mean, there's no institutions or nothing
there's
named color.
right. I'm
Okay.
going to tell you why I say all this
Well,
stuff.
let me go through them all. Let me go through them
Go
all.
ahead, I'm listening. Go ahead.
Okay, Negro is that negative?
Yes,
So we don't have no institutions or nothing. Well, we got the Negro College Fund. That's still around.
we got the NAACP.
Well,
That's
yeah.
bullshit.
Well, N stands for national. So Negro is that negative?
Yes,
How about black?
black is
That's the subject we're talking about. How
yeah,
about
black
African?
is too. Let me tell you
How
why
about African American?
negative. There's no such thing. I'm fixing to read something from 1928, 1929, written by Noble Drew Ali. It's Act 6 on a 5 tier of law. It says, with us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they must know that they are part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, they are not colored, they are not black, they are not Ethiopian, and they're not African American, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. This is one more paragraph, 3 lines. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must, you hear what I say, must proclaim their free national name to be recognized, because you're not recognized with all those names that I just mentioned, by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. In other words, the rest of the world don't recognize us using any of those names. We have to be recognized by proclaiming our national name.
Well, not what those names. If you look at the censuses from the first census on, that's how we're identified.
That's how white folks identify us,
Right.
just like they identified us as slaves. There's no people named slaves. There's no people named Negro. There's no people named black. There's no people named African American. The reason I'm saying this is we have been placed into a position to make it sound okay, but we have to do the research and understand why we're being treated the way we're being treated. We're being treated that way because we have no recognition. We are not recognized by the world as a people.
Because politics define who we are.
No, the world. The world. Nobody in the world recognizes us. Not one country on this planet recognizes black people. Not one. Not one country recognized African American. Not even Mexico. Not even Canada.
No, because you're an American. These are internal descriptions.
What makes you an American?
Huh?
The 14th Amendment, right?
No, what I'm saying, slave, colored, Negro, black, African American. These are internal.
But that's how you identify.
That are codified by every 10 years by the census.
Yeah, the census is full of shit too. The census is designed by who? The same people that call us colored and black. That don't mean shit to us. That don't mean shit to my ancestors who doing a damn census here. That don't mean a damn thing. That's just them keeping count of trying to keep numbers the way they want. How can a Scottish person be counted as a white person in America when they from Scotland? They're Scottish. You don't see that on the damn census.
No.
How can you don't see Japanese on the census? You don't see certain things on there because they all accumulated in the white so they can keep the white numbers up.
No, they do ask on the census your origin. I mean, but I hear what you're saying.
What is your origin though? What do we put as our origin?
Negro, African American.
Negro is not a nationality.
Colored.
Colored ain't no nationality.
Black.
Black ain't either.
I mean, but that's what we put.
We put it down there because that's what they want us to put down there because they want to disconnect us from our ancestors.
What's your options when you filled out the census in 2000?
I didn't put no damn. I didn't check nothing on the damn box. Them motherfuckers at my door 5-6 times over there right after the census.
So what did you check off? What did you check off? Negro,
I didn't put
colored,
nothing there.
Black.
I left it open because they didn't have my shit down there.
What's the latest?
I left it open.
Biracial? Did you check off biracial?
Hell to the no, because that ain't a race.
But that's how
I checked nothing. What mandated me to check it?
So white folks, they get to check Irish, German. Don't they get to check their ancestry?
They can check whatever they want. I'm focused on what
I
I
mean, I
have.
haven't focused on white folks. What's on the census for white?
I
Other
don't
than white,
know. I never even look at that.
is
I
anybody
look at what
listening
they got
can
on there for me.
is if anybody on the show listening that knows the answer to that, what?
Call in 210
Yeah,
eight
call
seven
in and send
two
us a text
2261.
and let us
Let us
know
know what the hell that is.
if
Because
you
I don't know.
what
If they
options.
don't, if I'm filling out an application for anything, even a job application, if I don't see more on there, then I don't take anything. I stopped doing this 10 years ago. I would not put a Negro or black or African American anything. They put descent on there to make it sound
Well, you had to
legitimate.
do
But
that when you
yes,
was
but they're gonna classify you as an African American, even though they say of African American descent. When it's time to count the numbers, you African American. They full of shit. They know how to word words to make you believe this or believe that, and we fall for the okie doke every damn time. Fuck that. If they ain't got your actual race down there, then you ain't nothing. You a figment of you a half of a number. You 3/5 of a number.
so what's your actual? What's the actual? What should be
I am
listed
a
on the census?
Moor, which I am a descendant of the Moabites and the Canaanites, and Abraham, Jacob, all those. I'm a descendant of those people. I'm the original. I mean, my name is Warren J. Smith Bay. There are only two names that will give us a nationality in this country, and that is Bay and that is L. Otherwise, you don't have a nationality. And look at it this way. When we walked off the plantation on January 1, 1863, we were slaves the day before. So we walk off the plantation. Now we have to decide what we are. We're no longer slaves, but what are we? But see, they didn't give us an option to be anything. But when the Confederate states, the 11 states, lost declared they had lost, they gave them an option. They said, if you want to rejoin the Union, the United States Union, you have to take the oath of amnesty. And if you don't take the oath of amnesty, then you are not going to be admitted back to the Union. We were never admitted to the Union. But the only black people, or I'm just using it because that's what we used to, the only black people that have become part of the Union, the United States of America, are the ones who took the oath of amnesty. And that ranges all the way back from the World War I, where blacks took the oath to join the military to present. If you otherwise, unless you took it on your own, you're still
So
not a
are you
citizen.
saying we're illegitimate
Huh?
citizens?
Hell
Are you
yeah,
saying
we're the illegitimate bastards of America because we have no nationality unless you have taken the oath of amnesty. And then if you've taken the oath of amnesty, you can be a U.S. citizen. If you haven't taken the oath, you're not a citizen.
so? If I'm in prison and the
Mhm,
governor says I pardon you,
mhm,
you I pardon you and I pardon you. I'm a citizen again.
mhm. You ain't never
Isn't that
been one. You wasn't a citizen before they put you in there. Because there's certain things you can do to a person who's an alien, an immigrant. You don't have the same rights as a citizen. You have privilege. You don't have rights. I don't. Well, I have rights now, but because you have rights because of your military background. But if you can go down your lineage and find somebody that served in the military in a black lineage, then you are a citizen. But if you can't connect the dots where you got somebody that served in the military or took the oath of amnesty, then you are not a citizen. You have to take the oath in order for everybody after you to be a citizen. If that's the only way you can be a citizen in this country, and it's documented that
well?
that is the fact.
Well, there's 41.57 million black people in this country.
Yeah,
So they're not all citizens by
hell no.
by your
Not by my standards, by
explanation.
documented standards. I can show you the same thing I'm telling you. I can show you. If they have not taken the oath of amnesty, you are not a citizen. If you
Because
can't
because
show
because
somebody in your heritage that took it, you are not a citizen.
because I've gone to the citizenship ceremonies. They do have to take an oath of
There
citizenship.
you go. Yeah. You had to take one. I had to take one, even if I didn't have to take one to be a citizen. But if you can't show it, you don't have it.
But the Constitution says anybody born in this country
The
is a
14th
United
Amendment,
States, right? Is a U.S. citizen.
shit. Yeah, let them tell it. But then you're going to tell me
I mean,
that
that's what the Constitution says.
there in 1982, the 13th, 14th, and 15th,
Why do you think all these people trying to get across these rivers and get
because
in there?
they're gonna take the oath though.
No, but their children are automatic citizens
So
if they're
what did
born
Trump
here.
say? He deporting people even if their kids were born here.
He,
He don't give a damn. They're not citizens technically,
oh, he's going.
unless they took the oath,
So
unless their
he's
parents
saying
took the
that.
oath.
So he's saying that if I make it to America and I'm born here, I have a baby that's born here. That's not a citizen.
Not unless the parents took the oath.
No, there's
The
the fact that
Constitution tell you that. Claude, I've read it. Every single word
the
of the
14th
Constitution.
Amendment says if you're born
14th Amendment is void. In 1982, the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment was declared unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. You don't see that nowhere, though, do you? You don't see the 13th Amendment with 20 sections. That's the only 13th Amendment that's valid. The 13th Amendment with two sections, the one that they promote for everybody in America, that's the one that ain't valid. But the
why is it?
13th Amendment with 20 sections is. There's two. Nobody knows. Nobody even
But
mentions
it's
it.
the 14th Amendment that gives you citizenship, birthright
14th Amendment
citizenship.
is void because for two reasons. One, because of the 1982 ruling by the Supreme Court. The other reason is the 14th Amendment violates the Fifth Amendment, which in the Fifth Amendment it tells you that the United States government will never take your shit. In other words, take your property without just due compensation. So, and
So
after I
okay,
walked
okay.
off,
So you
let me
want so
explain why I got to finish
no,
this
I hear
part.
what you're
Before,
saying.
let me finish it. When in the Fifth Amendment, it tells you that the United States will never take anything from a citizen or a person in in America without just due compensation. And then here it comes back to the 14th Amendment. It says the United States don't owe nobody shit. We ain't paying you shit. But before in the Fifth Amendment, it's telling you that if we owe you, we're gonna pay you. And in the Emancipation Proclamation, there's four of those, by the way. That the Emancipation Proclamation compensation tells America that for every slave you liberate, the federal government will pay you up to $10 per slave. So that was the incentive to give these plantation owners the motivation to release the slaves. So they released them in droves. And then, not even 6 months later, the 14th Amendment says, we don't owe y'all shit. And only out of all these millions, this so called 6 million slaves now, only 2,800 slaves got compensated to plantation
Yeah,
owners.
but that theory is based on a theory
That
of
ain't a theory.
property rights.
That's
We're
not
going
a
to property.
theory. That's law. That's written into the Abraham Lincoln executive will.
I got to look that up. I take your
Yeah,
word. I
look
take
it
your
up.
word.
I can guide you to it after our session, but I'm telling you, it's written
That's
that
interesting.
this is the fact, and that we follow suit on. If it don't affect nobody right now, they ain't gonna even address it. Right now, they act like they ain't got time to look at our situation. They ain't even paid the people from Tulsa that they burned down their entire damn city. They owe them billions of dollars, and they got one or two people left that was of that era that's about to die. And Tulsa is everybody knows they did this to Tulsa, but they don't want to pay the people. They don't want to pay them. Why would they honor the stuff that they've stepped on our heads and necks by? They don't give a damn about that. They ignoring it as long as we let them. And
But
right now we allow them to ignore it.
I understand what you're saying. I mean, because if the 13th, 14th, and 15th were as they say they were, we wouldn't have experienced the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. You know, we wouldn't be experiencing these experiences. We wouldn't need laws.
We only got privileges. We don't have rights.
I mean, does white people need a civil rights law?
No,
Is there a civil rights law for
no,
white
because
people?
this is a white country. All laws are written to protect white people.
But I
They
mean,
ain't
there's
written to
no.
protect us.
But is there a law to protect white Italians? Did they need a
They,
civil
if
rights
they,
law?
if they're all laws are written to affect anybody that can classify themselves as white. Even Mexicans can classify themselves as white. Chinese can classify themselves as white. Even in the most racist redneck towns, the Chinese, the Japanese, the Orientals are allowed to partake in anything white in those rural communities,
Is
but
that
not the black. Even German POWs were treated better than blacks
right? Right. They
in
have
this
freedoms
country.
there. They could eat in restaurants and all kind of stuff. Yeah.
But we couldn't, so everybody got rights. We have privileges. That's it. And unless you can prove your heritage, that you belong to a nationality, you only have privilege.
You
It
know,
tells you this if you got to read. And I
yeah.
took a 1 year, 52 weeks of classes to learn what I'm telling you right now.
now I hear you. I get it.
Mhm.
It's obvious because why? Because why do we continue? Why do we need this continuum of laws if we're citizens? Why is it? What's unique about us that needs these continuum of
Because
laws?
that's
Voting rights. I mean, here we are in 2024 talking about we need to pass another voting rights bill.
mhm. Because we don't. I mean, that's the
How many
camouflage.
voting rights bill have we passed for white people?
The voting rights bill. They want to. They throw these things, these cliche statements out there, like you said, to appease us and appease black people in high places. But these black people in high places don't want for one thing. They want what the white man got, and they want to be seen as equal to the white. I
Who
don't want to
does?
be equal to the white. I want to be left the fuck alone. Let me make my money and don't be stealing my shit. That's what it's all about. Everything we've ever created, they've taken because in taking it and made it useful for them. Even the Wright brothers ain't shit. They stole it from a brother who put his damn plane on the fucking train system to send it to the damn World Fair in Chicago, and the train never made it. So the Wright brothers got to fly their bullshit. But the black man who built the first fucking plane never got his damn plane there, so you never hear about him. So everything. I don't think there's one single thing black folks done created other than Madam C.J. Walker that black people created, then got promoted through black people. They always got somebody white that then took over their shit. Even the land that the federal government gave black people was taken back by
But
white
you,
people who swindled black folks out of their shit.
well, how do you feel about? Well, white folks haven't really come after the black church. That's still ours. I mean, that's been our bedrock institution.
You want me to go there?
But they
I
haven't came.
love
They haven't
I
came
love
after
the
it.
Lord. He heard my cry. But it's a whole nother thing when it's about the church.
But why haven't they come after the church then? They came
Because
after every
that's
other
the,
institution.
the segue to pacifism. That's the segue for black people to stay dormant. That is the biggest. The church ain't changed in 75
but wait a
years.
minute now. When we came out of slavery, it was the churches, it was the black church that created the
We needed
colleges, the
it.
schools, that gave
We
us
we
our
had to have
stuff.
it then. We really needed it. We
Right. So it's a
absolutely
critical.
unequivocally needed the church when we
So
walked off the plantation.
up until the '60s, primarily, right until we started getting black elected officials again.
Mhm.
I mean, the church gave us our cultural identity. white folks never went after it. Why is that?
because the church
Well,
kept
they
us.
bombed churches. I mean, they did go after them. They bombed churches.
Well,
They
that's
bombed
when
churches in
churches
Mississippi.
started to get big. They didn't go after them because the church was stepping on their toes. They went after them because the church was moving into their territories. In other words, churches were used as a catalyst for voting when the Voting Rights Act was passed, and because of that, they started going after churches. Anytime churches focus on us being advanced somewhere, then that's when white supremacy evolves and shows its head. I mean, they are going to shut it down. Like, no matter what black folks put together to move forward, we always allow them to put us back because we have they create the atmosphere where we cannot unify. That's where we are right now. We have an atmosphere where we cannot unify because the moment we unify, guess who they put on a watchdog? The slave catchers.
So when you say, I think, I think that there, I think that black people have a greater understanding about America's history, and I think you know this two-party system and having a greater understanding. I think of the laws and how they impact us. But I just think that the young people that are coming up today, it's like the word black. Who it was young people. That's a young people's word. The Stokely Carmichael of our generation. That was our word. That was to show that we were independent, separate from our forefathers and stuff like that. Where's that independence today? It definitely is not BIPOC.
Let's go back to
So where's that pride at today? You still see during this election, you see terms like Black Men United, these kind of organizations. They're young men, they're of that generation. They're young, but that's not a holistic approach. That's just a political thing. But we seem to be black folks seem to be we seem to be infused now into everything non-white.
mhm.
That seems to be an infusion of us.
Ev-
We're either uh, BIPOC. We're part of that grouping. We're biracial. We're part of that grouping. But we're not black. We're not the
who,
slave anymore. We're not.
who stands with black people?
Who stands with us?
Mm.
Well, if you talk to, we're in the election cycle, the Democrats stand with black people, right?
Now I'm talking about nationality. What other race stand with black people? Not African, not Haitian, not Jamaican, not Cuban, not black Mexican. Nobody. We've yet to identify on our own because of the unification. And then if we never unify, it's all right with America because that's what exactly where they want us, in a position not to unify.
Well, it is kind of ironic that no other single group has ever had to. We are probably the most litigated people in America.
What happened after Rodney King? No, what happened before Rodney King?
What happened before Rodney King?
Yeah, or even before that, what happened before the Black Panthers walked into the capital of somewhere in California, the governor's mansion in California when Reagan was president? What happened before that? Nobody knows. What is our history from the end of the Civil War to the day the Black Panthers walked into Ronald Reagan's courthouse or Ronald Reagan's Capitol House? You don't have anything. But all that time now, that was 70 some years. That was the
Well, you just came back from Washington D.C. Don't the African American History Museum, don't that kind of?
They have the whole chronological history, but you cannot see it in a day. It's 8 hours. I mean, you cannot see it. You might get off of one floor in 8 hours.
So where did you start at when you went there?
Unfortunately, I started in the top floor, which was you got the entertainment floor on the top, then you got the sports floor next to that, and because I was crunched for time, I went all the way down to the basement, which is where you seen the really bad stuff, the ships, the tools, the apparatuses that were used, the slave auction blocks, all that kind of stuff. The food that they ate, the type of journeys they had, that how many people jumped off certain ships rather than making it to America. You know, it's just so quiet and somber and sad
So
down on that bottom
as
floor.
you was looking at that, what kind of emotion did that generate in you?
It
As a
it made me upset. I couldn't stay in there because I started taking my time trying to read some of the stuff and look at some of the displays, and the more I did that, the angrier I became. So I kind of started just walking. I walked my way on up out of there.
Let me ask you a question, and I'm getting off topic just a little bit.
Mm,
Let's look at the Jewish community, right?
mm,
They can, when they settled here, they kept their religion,
mm,
they kept their schools,
mm,
uh, and they stayed together as a community, right?
mm.
Why didn't we do that?
We were not allowed to. Everything we had was taken.
I mean, they kept their culture, right?
They
They
took that too.
so they took our culture.
You didn't when you came here. You just like they did the so-called
What I'm saying,
Indians.
but once we were here, we had the black church. What?
No, you didn't have that until they allowed you to get listen to the good book, and that was years after slavery began. 100 years
Right,
later,
but we had it. But we had that
it took 100 years for them to deprive us
the
of
black
everything
church
we had.
created our schools and stuff. Why did we have to? Why did we have to leave and jump over to integration?
Everything we implemented for us was what we learned from them.
But what I'm saying, why didn't we stick to that? Why didn't we use the Jewish model and say we're gonna keep our own schools, teach our own kids,
Mhm.
maintain our own culture? Why did we abandon that?
You already know you were not allowed to read, to write, to
I'm
think,
talking about
to do.
when we were allowed to read and write and do. Why did we abandon? Why did
When
we?
you were allowed to do that, what were you were allowed to do it only based on their standards. You were never given an opportunity to implement your stuff. You were allowed to do what they told you to do. But don't forget that there were 10 million black people here before 1619,
Right.
and Abraham Lincoln clasped and said it. So you got to realize that culture can't be killed. So some of our culture did make it through slavery,
But we
but it
were
was all
separate.
made. It made it through slavery hidden.
But
But
during the post desegregation period, we could have did exactly what the Jewish community did.
we didn't because of the church. Because the church was so interested in experiencing the benefits that the white folks gave the church. Because if they didn't do what they were told to do, then you know what happens after that.
So you
So
saying that, so it was the
the
church that
church kept us in compliance.
so you saying the church is the institution that fought for integration and all this
The
kind of
church
stuff.
is what put us in that position. Yeah. The church has us in the position we're in today because the church took away our fight. They took away everything. We had no, we only wanted to believe that this white blue eyed Jesus was there for us. And we wanted to believe that everything we gonna get is in another world. That's what they were taught. They made the preachers teach to us as a body of people, and they taught it, and even to this day they still teach it, that our salvation is in another world.
Is that what the black political class does today about the Democratic Party? They tell us that our salvation is in that party.
I don't follow the Democrats, so I couldn't tell you. Let me tell you, I meant to tell you this earlier. I went to early voting, right? So in before this time, before the election like this, and they would not allow me to vote because I wouldn't classify Democrat or Republican. I said, I'm neither. So I stood there for over an hour arguing with the damn people, telling them I am neither one of these,
You told them what now?
that I am not a Democrat and I am not a Republican.
Well, you don't.
But they told me I couldn't vote.
That's not true. You can just because you can.
Well,
You can
I
vote
went all the way up to the top people in San Antonio to prove that I'm neither one, and they still wouldn't let me vote. I talked to the district or director of whatever it is. I don't know who the
You
person
can
was.
vote Republican, Democrat,
I had to classify one or the other in order for them to let me. It was early voting for some, maybe just for local. I don't know what it was for.
maybe it was the primary election.
Yeah, I think it was the primary. You're right.
Yeah,
It was the
primary
primary. But
election.
I didn't feel I needed to classify then. But that is how they have designed the system. So they force you into one of these categories. And I said, all right, I'm a Republican. And so they give you a Republican ballot. But then you want to vote. I said, I vote for some Republicans and some Democrats, so I need both. So I couldn't get both though. So the irony of it all is it's a cap on what they will and will not do to allow you to be who you are. Look at what like I was talking about the 666 symbol, right? Right now, if you say that to 100 black people, 80 of them stand up and say, "Oh, that's the devil." But in actuality, the 666 stands for the composition of melanin. 6 electrons, 6 neutrons, and 6 protons equal melanin. They won't tell you that, but they've condemned the 666 theory, which in actuality they condemn melanin, saying it's the devil. Then you go down to New Orleans, they still practice voodoo. But voodoo is our religion from all over the world. You go to any country from here to back then, and you'll find that voodoo is our culture. But they won't tell you that it's a good thing because that's our culture. They tell you it's evil. But who gonna tell me that my culture that's been practiced for thousands of years is evil? You know, the Catholic Church pushed the Crusaders out all over Europe and all over Africa and everywhere with Britain and everywhere else to force people to become Christians. And if you were a whole city and you decided that you didn't want to be Catholic or you didn't want to be Christian, then the objective was for the Crusaders to come in there and wipe you out. And the only ones that they would leave are the ones who agreed to be Christian. How can you force this down people's throats? And then you got the Mormons talking about missionaries. They go to these foreign countries in Africa and all these other places, and they proclaim the people to convert to Christianity. And the worst thing about it to me is that people give up thousands of years of their heritage to become Christians because some white man came into their city or their village or their community and convinced them to be Christian because they brought books and they brought gifts and they brought other things in there to give them. So they became what the white man wanted them to become. So the value of creating Christians all over the world was funneling money back to the Vatican, which is what it does. As far as our church is concerned, we're each church is contained within itself. It has its own government. And the one thing that the federal government does to black churches they leave them alone and give them tax exemption as long as they do not mobilize us as a political or a social party against what they do. And no church, not one church in America fights the federal government. Not one. That's fucked up. You can't tell me every one of these churches are happy with what's happening out here. And the moment one of them rears their head, it gets shut down. Look at what happened with the one who told, the one with Obama went to, and Obama had to condemn the church for what the man said. They said, "Goddamn America," and Obama had to condemn him, or
No,
they
he had to disavow him. He had to separate himself from that
what?
church.
And see, that's fucked up. When you got to make a man say something negative against somebody, a church that he's been in all his life, because he said something against America, you know, and they'll take that. And if he hadn't have done that, man, they would have rolled him hard and put him away with. But all I'm saying is the church is what's keeping us from mobilizing right now, because every church is segregated from every other church.
You know,
Every church,
it's like
huh?
in politics, brother. It's like I don't understand sometimes. There are 54, 52 or 54 black elected officials in Congress, right?
Mm,
And they say, well, I think it's 57 if you add the Republicans all
mm.
total. And if you ask them about legislation that directly impacts just black people, they say they don't have enough votes. How was it that Adam Clayton Powell, who was a one single congressman, were able to get laws passed and 57 came?
Only
In the
thing I can
60s
say,
versus now.
we have no. It always go back to the unity. I don't know how. I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but it
But do
always
you
come back
think
to unity.
but do you think that black folks do you think that we're honest in our conversations about
Fuck
our blackness? Or do you think that we get what your senator said, we get all these Anglo-Saxon reinforcements, education, house in the suburbs, a decent job, that we think that we're somebody else and that our blackness don't apply to us anymore?
We get that when we don't. If we want to move up in America and be a force in America, we have to act like the white folks.
Well, Colin Allred is finding out just how liberal we are. Cause have you noticed his commercials? How they darken his skin, give him a rough-looking beard, and make his skin seem darker and more menacing. You ever notice
Nah,
that?
I ain't noticed it.
Next time you look at his commercials, then look at the commercials that ran against him. They're like night and day.
So they making him look like a neophyte.
No, they're making him look menacing. Why do you think most black politicians lighten their skin on their campaign materials?
More to be more appealing, right,
To,
to the white folks. And
to
if
be
you ain't
more.
got white folks behind you, there's certain things you just not gonna get in 2024. And that's just plain simple. Just like a black owned business, right? You want to cater to your people. You want to have your black business in a black community. But yeah, if you put your business in a black community, and if you only want to cater to your people, you're not gonna be the richest person in business or rich. You're not
Well,
gonna
now,
really be
now
able to make it out of
there are
that cycle.
exceptions. There are black owned businesses in white areas.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's exactly my point. That's exactly my point. If you're a black owned business and you put it in white area, as long as they don't know you're the owner,
That-
there's a potential that you're gonna be successful.
right. As long
But
as it's got as long as your black owned business got all the Anglo Saxon reinforcements,
you're gonna be all right.
you're gonna be all right.
You're gonna be all right. But if you I'm sorry, but this is my daughter getting on the plane. I had to just let her know.
No, you got to take care of your
If
family.
you
Yeah.
don't have your business in a place, you put a business in a white neighborhood and you make it black, then you're subject not to get white business. You put it in a black neighborhood and you make it black, you're gonna get a lot of black business initially. But as time goes on, black people are your most critical customers. You're gonna
Critical
have
in
to
what
give them
in what
something
critical in what sense?
critical about everything you do. Let your ice not be cold enough. You listen to that the way I said it. Let your ice be not cold enough, or as cold as the white man's ice that's got the same kind of business on the other side of town. Then they're gonna go over there because your ice ain't cold as theirs. It's that. I mean, that sounds so stupid, doesn't it?
One of the questions you know, when I was growing up and when you was growing up and black people came back from military service, they tended to go back to their communities. Medgar Evers was a military man. A lot of the branch presidents in the South were military people,
Mm.
ex-military. Uh, I guess my question is about the black community, right? And we got all this talent, all this ability. Why do we need white folks to do anything? We got college trained people, we got educated, we got engineers, why can't we build our own hospitals? Why can't we build our own infrastructure? Why we got all this now. We got we got all this talent. We got more talent. We got more people with abilities, but it seems like that they're more interested in the Anglo-Saxon reinforcements than they are about revitalizing the communities in which we come from.
The
I
worst
mean,
thing
what
I
I mean, what do we need the white man to do that we don't have the ability to do?
the worst thing I see is that our biggest problem is that we want the white man's validation to feel like we're successful. That's what I say. If we
But
don't get the white man validating our business, we're not successful.
do we need the white man's validation to put a quality grocery store in our community? Do we need the white man's validation to make sure that all of our schools are performing like they should?
You
I mean,
remember,
do we
you
need the
remember
white
when
man's
Walmart came to
validation to
town,
make our
right?
communities? We got all this talent.
Mm.
We got we got we got more
It's
black
two things:
men.
Walmart and integration. When
Okay, but
Walmart came to town, you know what happened. Every mom and pop store, to include black businesses, were eventually shut down. The
yeah, but what
second thing is when integration came to town, all black communities dwindled to disappearance.
okay, so why are we always talking about screaming racism and need all these different laws and all this kind of stuff? What it seems like to be. Well, what are we saying then?
We can't, like, I can't fight the police department as one person. You can't fight the school system as one person. And because we all go after these fights, as in, we don't even get a church, one church to back us up on a fight against a school doing something we don't like. You never see a church protesting a killing of a black man, or you never see it. It's just unheard of because
Especially, you're right. The power of the black megachurch in terms of social justice change.
other than this Sunday morning when they go in there and jump and hoop and holler, you don't see them do nothing else or try and teach a book that was written by a punk. And I don't mean no disrespect to the LGBTQ community. I'm just saying this book in that day and time being written by somebody who took a criminal to make a picture of Jesus, which we all have seen in our churches.
Well, I guess what I'm asking you though, and I want our BNN 247 listeners to maybe let us know what what we got so much talent.
Yeah, we got the talent, but we don't have the support.
So why do our communities look so poorly?
We don't have the support. If we went build our own neighborhoods and our own communities, we can put a 250 unit housing complex up. When they find out it's a black community, everything you try to get to that community gonna suffer. The lumber gonna cost more. The pavement, the streets gonna cost more. Everything's the services gonna cost more. The power company's gonna charge you more. Everybody's gonna pay more because they don't want you to succeed. That's the nature of the
Well,
beast here in America until we do it together.
well, places like Atlanta have kind of bucked that. Don't I mean Atlanta have
They don't have their own power system. They don't have their own water system. They don't have their own gassing stations. They
but they
grocery
got.
stores. Look,
You're right because
think about
because
put a
because there's
grocery
one
store up next to HEB.
there's one suburb right outside of Atlanta. It's all black, right?
Mm.
They created their own town. They don't have not one business in it.
I mean,
They don't have no commercial
we've gotten away from
development.
boycott.
They don't have no commercial development. It's all houses. They created a town with no commercial
No,
growth.
nothing. We can't. We don't even own any more gas stations. We don't own anything. If we could just boycott one store for one day, we can show our effectiveness. But we can't get together on June 19th to boycott the gas station. We can't get together on one day, on one
But
occasion,
brother,
on
what
one
do you?
accord across the
It's
entire
only
country.
41. It's only 41 million of us souls.
It's enough to make a difference.
That's
That's
men,
$41
women,
million if we
men,
only
women,
save
and
a dollar a
children.
day. That's a lot. That's a lot. If we work together, if we had 50,000 black people, like the NAACP, right? When do you hear about the NAACP doing something?
Yo, y'all just had y'all banquet right up there.
That's my point. Party. That's exactly my point. When last time you heard about a church doing something?
Well, I think the NAACP. I mean, at least my experiences, and I think the NAACP is a good voice. I think it's needed. I think it does do good work.
What does it do? Give me one thing. The latest thing you can remember.
Well, I think it's a national organization, and all politics is local. There are small towns and places where the NAACP is really making an impact, and it's the voice of that particular community. Whether it's at City Hall, but one thing, it's a national organization. It has to raise money nationally, but I'm saying that there are independent branches that are making a difference in some of the black communities where they're located. Because I don't know of an NAACP branch located in a white community. So they're located in the community. Now, do they get the support from the community? Do they get the resource support from the black community, from that could be giving them more resources, could be standing with? Probably not. Because they
But they
go
had,
down.
I mean, you heard of the NAACP asking black people to do something with them? Have they went up and stood on the steps of the courthouse and said, "We demand answers. We demand you to release the
But
video footage from the student"?
have the community put any demands on the local branch to do that?
That
Has the
it all
community
reverts
put?
back to this revolving door of unity versus organization. We got enough organizations to at least get 20 people from every one of them. I mean, we got all these organizations, and we all stand for something,
Right.
but we don't all stand together for anything. We only thing that's consistent amongst all these organizations is the color of the people at the top, the black folks,
Well, I
and
mean,
and the money that they receive.
but back to the subject, Black Friday, a slap in the face, and that's based on the word black,
Hmm.
and black, you know,
It's negative. Black is negative.
well,
And so
was
that means this: if we go out on Black Friday morning and sit at the store till it opens to get a particular
yeah.
item that's available all damn year,
How
and
do they
risk
define?
ourselves getting shot, killed, or stampeded, we're kind of losing it. We don't need to be in these lines.
Would that be? Could that be? What other name would go with Friday in terms of a commercial day?
Super Friday, Bargain Friday, Big Sale Friday. It's a BSF. You
It's
know,
not.
it could be anything but Black Friday. Anytime you see the word black, it's associated with a negativity. Everything's positive with black except for being black. Really, that's how white folks look at it. Everything about that is positive about black except for being black. You cannot stand a black person on the same level as a Black Friday event because that Black Friday event wins every time hands down. No black, nothing black will stand equivalent to that.
Black Friday means. I see what you're saying. Black Friday means bargains, cheap. Everything devalued. It goes.
Mhm.
It,
Perfect word, the value. Well, we've been on a little over an hour, so Claude, go ahead and wrap us up. Tell us what you think,
well, I
especially with
just.
that beautiful cap you got on.
Oh, let me try to get back on here.
You on? I hear you.
No, but I couldn't see you.
Oh, okay.
I think my cap kind of sums up everything that we've kind of talked about. I think we do this every
We
4 years.
haven't talked about the two candidates. If you want to talk about them too,
Well, I mean, I think people. I'd rather talk about the importance of voting, and the fact that people, suffered some and died for that right, and I think we all have a responsibility to go and exercise it. Uh, and this show, I think it's important that this show remind the people out there, the people that are listening, that regardless of party, your vote still matters. Uh, and so I would encourage people to go out there on Tuesday and exercise that right that so many. I'm doing the same thing. I criticize, you know, but it's true. I mean, you can't erase the fact that people died for this right, for this privilege that was denied to us. I grew up in Selma and witnessed firsthand the sacrifices that people made, the jobs that people's lost, people that were in their teens, teenagers, young adults in their 20s and stuff, life snuffed out by racist state troopers. That was kind of emblematic of what was going on all around the country. But I think we've shared some interesting thoughts with our listeners, and you keep coming up with these subjects that really make us think. We got the education, we need to use it to think beyond what we were taught about these subjects. Uh, I just think that in America, like how we see us and how others see us, there's a wide gap. There's a wide gulf. We see us with all these accoutrements on, so we think that we have made it.
yeah.
But like the guy said, it don't matter how many Anglo-Saxon attributes you have. You are no different than the lowest of your race. And that's that blackness. That's how black people are seen. We may see differences in each other. That's why we got to come together. We may see differences. We may say, well, I graduated from Howard or I graduated from here, but that ain't how they see us. And so we're bound by that. And so until we figure out how to come together and work together to change our existence in this country, ain't no Democrat Party, ain't no Republican Party, and nobody else gonna change it. So I just leave those thoughts in the minds of our listeners and look forward to seeing you back next week.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is Mr. Claude Foster, founder of CGA Consulting Group. He is the co-host of BNN 247, and I want you all to give him a rounding uh, circle of applause, thanking him for joining us here today on Sunday. Thanks for your time, Claude. I will see you next week. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard Mr. Claude Foster and I go through Black Friday, a slap in our face. Now, I don't want to say that we kind of missed the mark, but I think we nailed it today, telling you that this Black Friday stuff and all these holidays that they have throughout the year is just a matter of us spending our hard-earned money. And as long as we continue to go and partake in these dumbass events, they're going to keep accomplishing the goals that they want to. So don't be caught up in that bullshit out there trying to buy some bullshit that you could have bought all year long. You got to stop playing this bullshit game because it's really a game to keep us in a particular place in America. But before I go, I want to leave you with something that I thought was very important that I heard somebody else say. It is available to us. Everything's available to us if we put the right attention to it. We got to get rid of this particular thing. We got to get rid of our fantasies. We have fantasies that it's just around the corner. We have fantasies that things are going to get better tomorrow. These are basically fantasies. You're going to lose. You're going to lose your mother in life. You're going to lose your father in life. You're going to lose your pets in life. You're going to lose your money in life. You're going to lose almost every single thing you love. And at the end of the day, you're going to lose your life because we all have an expiration date on this planet. And at the same time, we will have people to hurt us. And these people that hurt us are the same people that we love, that we poured our heart out to them. And then you spend time, sometimes too much time, asking yourself, what did you do wrong? You got to think that things like this are going to happen. And you have to be strong enough to move beyond those things. You can't let them take you out. Everything has a time on this planet. We got to want to be better at what we do. We got to stop worrying about when the world is going to end because it's definitely got an expiration date too. And we just hope it don't have it long as we're here. When you walk in peace with yourself, then the world starts to look a whole lot better. You got to prepare yourself for that. You got to prepare yourself mentally and you got to prepare yourself physically. And if you don't do that, you're not going to be able to walk in this world with confidence. Prepare yourself mentally and physically for your walk in the world. You got to be able to do that. And with that, all things are possible. We just need to get rid of those fantasies that we think better times are going to come. Because right now, it doesn't look like better times are coming. So we have to create those better times for ourselves. We create our own better times. We cannot look at the world or tomorrow to try and create those times. We have to create those times on a daily basis. And the sooner we realize that nobody gives an F about our problems, we will be better off. We have to be the ones to decide who we are and how we are going to operate. And nothing Joe Blow or Joe Smucko or Willie Foo Foo or Larry Lunchmeat can say can change the trajectory that God and Allah has set on my trajectory. Same with yours. This is the Black News Network, the real voice of Black USA, broadcasting every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. and again every Sunday at 3:30 p.m. And I would like to say we do not own the rights to the music, but we do own the rights to what we say. And I want to thank you all for being a part of BNN 247. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube and like us on Facebook. I got it right that time. Have a great day today and a better day tomorrow. BNN 247 is out.